Okay, so this month we read The Selection by Kira Cass, the first book in like a series of 5 or 6, I think. And overall, I give this book a 4.5 out of 5. Like, I really enjoyed it.
I'm gonna give it a 5. I'm gonna give it a 5 because this month I was kind of in like a reading slump with stuff for school and others, like just in general. And this book definitely got me out of the reading slump.
So this book is about a girl, her name's America, and she lives in a kingdom, country, whatever you want to call it, where they have a caste system, so like people are like ranked.
Like a dystopian.
Yeah. And so there's a new prince, his name is Maxon, who's like come of age of needing a wife. So they take a couple girls from each caste and bring them to the palace and basically let them compete in competition. It's kind of like The Bachelor.
Yeah. Oh.
And so they go and they like do these dates, they have these like conversations, these interactions with Maxon, and then every so often he'll send a couple home until there's one left to be his wife.
So like we were saying earlier, it's a dystopian novel set like in the future after a big like another world war happened. As you can see, compared to some of our other books, this is a bit smaller, so it's more of like a quick read, which I think was like super nice. It kind of gave my brain a break. The chapters were a bit like they're pretty short. Like that's one chapter.
The book in total is 327 pages.
Yeah. I will say the beginning of the book was kind of slow, but once she like got to the palace and like started making connections with people, you like started to get really invested in the relationships throughout. Like I was super invested not only in like America and Maxon's relationship. Is it Maxon? Yeah. But also like some of the other girls that America was competing with, because it didn't really like towards the end especially, it didn't feel like they were competing against each other, but more like becoming friends with one another.
And also throughout we get to see like America starts to develop a relationship with her two maids, and my favorite is Lucy. She's so sweet. And also going into like we learned like in the first 2 chapters America has a boyfriend, and what was his name again? I don't remember it. Aspen, yes.
Is it?
I think so. America has a boyfriend. His name is Aspen, or something like Aspen. And we get to see their relationship develop throughout the book too, because he becomes a guard in the palace.
But those are in the later books.
That is in the later books.
Yeah.
But
this book was I think so. This book was good enough that
I've read every book in the series.
Yeah, I was to say both of us read the rest of the books after reading this one, so it was so good because it's a trilogy, and this like doesn't end at like the end of the selection because that's what it's called. It's split up between 3. So this is the selection between 16, and then you have the like this book ends when they enter the elite, which is 9 or 6, something like that. It's like cut in half, and then the last one's called the Wand, which
and it's where Maxon picks his wife.
Correct.
And then spoiler alert,
yeah.
Obviously Maxon picks America. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a trilogy.
Correct.
And so there's 2 other books in the series called The Heir and the Crown, and it's where America and Maxon's daughter goes through the same process. Like they bring guys to the palace and have them bachelorette.
Yeah. Because it's like they're twins, but the girl was born first,
so
and then yeah.
But yeah, overall, I really like. I probably read this whole series in the span of a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Like, it was really like I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I will say, I think it helped that this was a dystopian novel because those are my favorite. But Kira Cass is also my favorite author. Like the amount of detail she puts into it helps me to imagine what's going on, but doesn't like overload it to the point where I'm like, this is too much, I can't handle it. Like she has a very nice balance with the way that she writes stuff. And I would feel like a lot of dystopian novels are very like formal in their writing, and this one was not. Maybe it's just because it's like not a true
it's
dystopian.
More of a romance dystopian.
Yeah. So it was more of like relationships between people, so it was a little bit more informal, but it was I don't know, it felt like super easy to read.
Okay, so the reason I gave it a 4 out of 5 or 4.5 out of 5 is because again, loved it, loved the whole series. But I just, I could not stand Aspen. I couldn't stand Aspen. And, like, their interactions took up a couple, like, chapters in the book, and, like, I just didn't want to read about that. I wanted to read about other things. So, like, that's the only reason I took off 25 minutes.
I think the reason that I gave it a 5 out of 5 is because, while, yes, this was written as well as other books, like, there are other books that are written just as well, this one had me talking and thinking about it 24/7, which is what I think makes a great book. Not only just, like, reading it and being like, oh, this is good, I enjoy it, but also thinking about it outside of reading it and having discussions with your friends and being able to talk about, oh, are you team Maxon, are you team Aspen, what things you like, what things you don't like. Like, I was finished with this book in, like, a day, maybe 2 days, and I have not stopped, like, I haven't shut up about it since. So I was like, I feel like that's my difference between a 4.5 and a 5, is just how much I was able to talk about it and relate to it with other people. All right.
That's it.